welcome to Door Talk, our weekly program dedicated to all things doors, frames, and hardware, as well as access control and specialties. I hope everyone is enjoying our episode so far, and drop us a comment to let us know how we're doing. Nicole, what's been your favorite segment so far?
Well, thanks for asking. So far, I think my favorite segment's been the hurricane panel discussion. Really appreciate hearing about all the good hurricane products we have out there.
Yeah, and I've really liked all the great information on access control solutions, and there's a lot more to come on Tech Talk Tuesdays with that. So what's on the show today?
Well, on today's show, we're going to have our tips and tricks once again, and this week it'll be on door hardware. We'll also be having a panel discussion on the basics of master keying. But don't forget, before we start with all of that, that we still have our monthly giveaway, and you still have time to enter in our drawing for our 4 DVR camera system.
Yeah. Thanks, and here's tips and tricks.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tips and Tricks. On today's quick little overview, I just want to show you just a moment the best way to properly lubricate and service your locks, your hardware, and anything on your doors. It's important to do this because we've all had squeaky hinges before, we've all had locks and keys that didn't properly operate, and door latches that don't retract the way that they're supposed to. So the easiest way to do that is get your favorite lubricant. We're not going to recommend any specific manufacturer. Just get some kind of penetrating lubricant that you can spray in the lock, in the keyhole, wherever it needs to go, and lubricate it properly. The easiest way to do that, just spray a squirt in the edge of your lock, spray some in your key, put your key in there, move it in and out, operate the lock the way that it should be, make sure that everything's good, and you're good to go. There's nothing complicated about it. You just want to make sure this stuff is well oiled, well greased, and that it's functioning properly. And if you do that and maintain this every few months, every 6 months, at least a couple of times a year, then your lock is going to work the way that it should. Just make sure to refer to any manufacturer's guidelines and instructions on any types of lubricant that you should or shouldn't use, and you'll be good to go. Thank you very much. Hey everybody, welcome to Door Talk. On today's panel discussion, we have back Nathan Delkamp, locksmith of 26 years. Nathan, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me on the panel.
We're excited about today's show. So on today's panel discussion, we're going to be talking about key systems and the importance of a secure building. Because Nathan, you know, with your years of experience in locksmithing, the little bit of locksmithing that I've done, people just don't realize how important a simple key or a lock can be.
That's right.
So we're going to ask Nathan a few questions today. We're going to go and cover some topics about restricted keys versus non-restricted, master keying, what that means, the simplicity of master keying, and why all these things are important. You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. All right, so Nathan, why don't you start off a little bit and just dive into what keying and keys are. I mean, what the importance is between a standard key blank, a restricted key blank,
right,
and the systems that follow.
All right, so a restricted key and a standard key can look the same. There's nothing different really besides the non-restricted may say do not duplicate, or a restricted may say patent pending or patent number or something like that.
Right.
So the misconception with a do not duplicate key, a lot of people think that's going to be your ticket to security. Your building is wonderful. Nothing's going to be duplicated. The problem is there's nothing legally binding anybody from not duplicating.
Including locksmith?
Including locksmiths.
Really?
Including your fancy electronic kiosk machines at your local stores that you could just pop your key in, key pops out, nobody knows anything.
You talking about those neon green ones like
exactly, yes.
The Walmart?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all seen those. So and that's true. You stick a key in, and if it's got the key blank in there, it's gonna cut.
Right. It doesn't care what it says, what it looks like, as long as it can read the key, and it could allegedly agree that it has it in the system. You're gonna have a key.
Wow.
Whether your building owner knows or not, there will be a key floating around somewhere that they can't prove you don't have or you do have.
Right. Okay, so any standard key blank The most common out there, for commercial doors and locks is probably the Schlage C keyway, something
Right.
something to that effect. And of course, for residential, it would be something like Kwikset or something like that.
Right.
But say on a commercial building, say one customer in a complex has a Schlage C keyway, and then the next customer has a restricted key blank. Tell me what the difference is and how that restricted key blank and that keyway is going to be better protected.
All right, so your standard keyways, non-restricted, will pose a threat in terms of your environment, your property, your people that live in or work in the environment. Meaning, keys can be out and about that you don't know. Keys can be existing that may have not been approved.
Okay, just like you said. So basically, any employee, or for that matter, if you lend a key to a contractor that's doing work inside the building, they could go duplicate that
Exactly.
and have a key to your building, and you would never know it.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is a restricted key blank and a restricted key system prevents that from happening.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, why does it prevent that from happening? So, the building owner, the property manager, the person that owns the doors or locks, whatever, owns the rights to that particular key.
So it's registered to them
Yes.
through the factory. Okay.
So, if I take this key blank that says restricted, whatever keyway manufacturer, to a local distributor, local locksmith, or somebody, they could try, but they do not have the key blanks. There's a guarantee. There's a legal binding contract that says these people cannot duplicate because they don't have the blanks. In order to
Wow.
obtain the blanks, you need to be an authorized distributor or salesperson or service team.
So that's going to kind of put in the responsibility on the building owner to have a good relationship with a locksmith, a certified end user.
Exactly.
That way, there's a relationship there, and that locksmith and/or service provider can keep track of every single key that's cut.
Exactly. Not only that, your relationship goes miles ahead of what you're seeing because you're developing a safety net in terms of somebody you could trust, somebody you can rely on, somebody that knows what they're doing.
Right.
So your non-restricted keyway, anybody that has a key machine in the back of their trunk, their car, their van,
Yeah.
you have $10, you have a key.
Right.
You know, so let's be
Well,
honest
and
about that.
That's something to bear in mind because, all right. So let's talk about. We've talked about the difference between a restricted key system and a standard key system a little bit, and just so you guys know, we're going to touch on these subjects more in the future and do in-depth things on everything that we've talked about today. But today we're just trying to do a brief overview so you guys can understand. So we've talked about that, Nathan. So let's get into master keying.
Yes.
Why master keying is important and the importance of not overcomplicating it, making it a simplistic system. Let's
Right.
talk about that.
All right, so the gist of a master key system is a master key which would override additional keys below. Think of a pyramid. So you have your top master key, and then you have change keys below, which operate a single door, which operate other single doors, and so on and so forth. So your master key, you don't want to give out to everybody. You have, let's say, 15 doors in your facility. Nothing big. That one master key will open up all 15 doors.
Okay.
A separate key can give access to a person on a single door or an additional door down the hall, so on and so forth. You could do multiple levels, but you don't want to overcomplicate it because now you're going to have a whole jumble mess of keys lying on your desk. I don't know where everything goes.
Right.
And you just have to just trust that a master key system will, at the end of the day, save your system from having to be rekeyed over and over and over again because you don't have master keys floating around everywhere.
So-
if you have 15 employees, you're not going to have 15 master keys. You're going to have one master key
Yeah.
and 14 separate change keys.
Change keys. Okay. So basically, a master key is something that is a key that opens every every door below it.
Yes.
So you can have different levels of master keying. I know just from what we've seen with key systems and we've built in times past, you can have grandmaster keys, great grandmasters, great greats, and go all the way up.
Right.
And each one of those master keys could have submasters under it and or change keys, correct?
Exactly.
So the reality is, you know, master keying can work on any level, a small to medium-sized business,
Correct, yeah.
to a corporation. So it's important to dive into these issues. So many times from what we've seen and what Nathan and I have seen in the field, a lot of times this stuff is not discussed with the project managers
Right.
up front.
Exactly.
And so keying is something that's always forgot about. So at the end of the job, a lot of times, and for you contractors and architects out there, make sure that you stress the importance of keying up front and find out how the end user, how the customer wants their system keyed, because
Exactly.
it can hold up a process, especially if they're ordering, like Nathan said, a restricted key system. It can hold the process up and delay it by weeks.
Exactly.
So, so let's talk about the importance of, you know, simplifying a master key system. So, for example, if just like you talked about in a building with 15 doors, would it be necessary to have one master key and then key all those doors individual, or is it a good idea to key some of those doors in groups on one particular change key?
Groups are usually wonderful because it's going to cut down on the amount of keys a person has to deal with.
Okay.
So
So give us some examples of groups. Are you kind of talking like, you know, you have maintenance closets, you have IT closets,
Right.
exterior doors? Is that the kind of groups that you're recommending?
exactly, you can have an exterior master, you can have a HVAC master, you can have a telecom master, you can have a office master, you could have a presidential suite master, you could have a penthouse master, you could have a water closet master. It could go on and on.
And
and
so
on
all
on.
these could, even though they're individual change keys, they could still be referred to as master keys, because basically a master key, in my mind, is anything that opens up multiple doors.
Yes.
But it still could have a top tier master on top of it.
Yep.
So you have one key that opens everything in the entire facility, and then you have one change key that's been designated as a master because it opens multiple doors.
Exactly.
But all those multiple doors are keyed exactly the same under that top master, correct?
Exactly, correct.
Okay.
Now, some customers actually appreciate a bunch of keys.
Right.
Reason is they feel if they have a lot of keys, it's harder to lose than one single key.
Right.
Which kind of makes sense. You don't have to worry about where did I put my one key? Where's my one key? Now you're having a fistful of keys, and some people like that.
Yeah.
But then again, they have to fumble through the key. Oh, which key does what door? And it becomes an inconvenience.
But that's another point that we need to stress: the importance of proper key nomenclature and labeling
Yes.
for those master keys
Yes.
and those change keys. When make sure whoever your service provider is, whoever your locksmith is, make sure to have them properly assign where those keys go in your building. Whether that's you take a map of your facility and mark it out. This is change key AA1 or you know, BA5. It doesn't matter. Make sure it's marked appropriately so you know where those doors go, and keep that in a safe location. Don't float that information out, because if heaven forbid those keys got out, you don't want them having access to that map where those keys go, because then
Exactly.
they can just walk up to that door and open it up.
You raised that interesting question about mapping out buildings with keys and all that stuff. What's also good to incorporate is if you're happy with your provider, continue using them, because they understand how your system works.
Yeah.
They know that, okay, we designed it, we can service it, we can maintain it. We know where your keys go. Now, you may pass this system on to somebody else that understands, locks, keys, but their idea of how your system works won't be the same.
Right.
You understand? Because we've already come to an agreement that, hey, we know how this works. You like the way it works. Everybody's happy. So using the same provider would guarantee your system's integrity for years to
Right.
come.
Right.
So
Well, that's good information. So, one more question on master keying. So, If a customer has a master key system and there's change keys under that master key system, what if they have a door that they don't want anybody to access and except maybe the building owner? What if it's something that they do not want on the end user's master key system, but only say the property manager or the building owner to have access to? What can they do under that master key system or not under that master key system?
Well, you have two options. The first is called a SKD, which is a special key different or a single key different.
Okay.
The problem with those kind of conditions is if that key is not there, let's say a fire or a emergency happens in that room, the next best thing is knock the door down.
Right.
Now, how much money is it going to cost to repair your door, replace the hardware frame, whatever? Or incorporate a single door access control system, which could later be expanded into the rest of the building.
Okay.
Now, that access control system would guarantee proper audit control of the door, but don't forget, a restricted key in the access control system will guarantee that system's integrity.
Okay.
You don't want to put a run-of-the-mill key I could copy in the bag of somebody's trunk on your access control system.
So, in other words, you're saying you would not want to put just a basic keyway on a building that you've got access control on, because
Exactly.
you know, our time in this industry, we've seen it. People spend $250,000 on an access control system and then have a key on the front of their building that can be
Exactly.
duplicated at Walmart.
Exactly.
And it doesn't make sense to do that.
Exactly.
You need to, when you're upgrading the integrity of your building, you need to do it in every facet, of your door and your opening. And that's important. That's good news. That's good information.
Exactly. And the main reason why it doesn't work is, electronics, let's be honest, can fail and will fail at some point. How do you get back into that room? Well, your key will get you back into that room.
Yeah.
But who has those keys? If you don't know, if you can't guarantee how it was copied, how it was maintained, what happens then?
Right.
So, just food for thought.
Well, Nathan, is there anything else you'd like to say on master keying or key systems?
Just keep it simple. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to contact us. We have lots
absolutely.
of experience and we could talk about it all day.
Right. Well,
So.
Nathan, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Thanks, guys. Please visit doortalk.com for more information, as well as our Learning Center blog series. And don't forget to watch Tech Talk Tuesdays and subscribe to our podcasts.
There's also a lot of great webinars coming up that we list on our website each week. So be sure to check those out and let us know what you'd like to see on future shows. Well, that's it for today, so you stay safe and secure out there.
And we'll see you next week.
So far, and drop us a comment. Okay.
Don't forget to watch Tech Talk Tuesdays and subscribe to our
Oh,
I can't say the word subscribe.
subscribe.
Okay.
Well, that's it for today. So you stay safe and secure out there.
And we'll see you next week.